what people have been doing with especially like Apollo and Seamless is they go into the walled garden. They're like, sweet, I can get access to this data. Now I'm just going to pitch everybody, right? And so it's like one contact. How many times can you email them? Maybe you do 3, 4, 5, maybe 7. Oh, that's kind of pushing it in cold outreach, right? And what do you do at the end of that? If they don't respond? Absolutely nothing. Like, right? And maybe 6 months later they come back around and you hammer them again.
Marketing is about values.
Nike didn't call me and sell me this in a catalog. I bought this swoosh because it's ingrained in my soul.
When you have a product that really resonates with customers, the word of mouth grows like wildfire.
Welcome to the Marketing Max Show. Now, let's dive in.
What would you do if your LinkedIn company page got banned, completely nuked, and all of your ads were taken down overnight? It's some news around exactly that and what you would do if you were the CMO of that sort of company or one using that sort of tool. Welcome back to the Marketing Max Show. I'm Logan Lyles. I'm joined as always by my buddy Marketing Max. Max, how you doing, man?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on my show, Logan.
Thanks for having me as your co-host yet again. Well, we're going to be getting into some news and another one of our CMO of series. We had a good chance to chat about if we were the CMO of Sonos a couple weeks back, talking about some leadership changes in their marketing department. So we're going to bring back that segment today. But before we get into all of that, we're going to do a little spin on our 5-second bet. We've been asking folks, hey, if you listen to the episode, we'll make you a bet. If you subscribe and you don't get any value out of it, then you get the chance to just hit Max up on Twitter and tell him how bad this is. The bet today is a 5-second bet, but if you're watching on YouTube specifically, hit that like button. We're going to give you 5 seconds to do so. And if you hit that like button and you don't get value from either myself or Max, just choose one of us to find a little nugget from today's episode, then you can hit us up on LinkedIn or on X and let us know how bad the show was. So we got 5 seconds. Let's count it down, Max. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right.
Hopefully
you were a little off,
followed or subscribed or liked. Yeah, maybe there's a little delay. I don't know. We never had this issue before, but yeah, hopefully you followed or liked on YouTube or Spotify or Apple or whatever godforsaken place you're listening to this on. And now we can get into the meat and potatoes of a tool that I use regularly in my business, and I think you do too. Apollo, getting totally, what do they call it in the crypto world? Clapped. They got clapped, right? Or SEO, maybe they call it in the SEO world. They got clapped back. Yeah. Got totally shut down.
I originally got heard wind of this through a LinkedIn connection of mine. Shout out to Clark Barron over at Ronin. And he had a post and it just showed the company page, company page not available. Right? If you've ever clicked that link and someone's got the wrong URL to their LinkedIn company page, and it's like, whoops, you're in the wrong spot or whatever that screenshot is. And it looks like both Apollo.io and Seamless AI, both of which are known for helping you be able to gather contact data from LinkedIn profiles, their pages are gone. Yeah, this was 4 days ago at the time of this recording. More time will have passed by the time you're listening to this. Probably about a week since this went down, if you're listening to it, this episode right when it goes live. And still, neither of these pages are up. And I've also heard that their ads have been taken down. To me, this seems like there's always been platforms and ways that people have been using LinkedIn data that, I don't go way deep into their terms of service, but I'm like, this doesn't seem like it's completely, in line, yet it is kind of the norm. And it seems like maybe that's primarily what LinkedIn's cracking down on. So just from kind of an overall marketing perspective, news perspective, what was kind of your first reaction to this, Max, before we get into, what would you be doing about it if you were heading up marketing at one of these companies or at a company that's heavily invested in one of these tools?
Yeah, I just had to look up the valuation of Apollo and Seamless.ai because I wanted to confirm for myself and give context to those who are listening, the 3 of you or the 3 million of you, we never know, who are listening. just how big these companies are. So Apollo last raised at a $1.6 billion valuation, Apollo.io. And Seamless, I couldn't quickly find their valuation, but it shows me in one of my favorite data sources that's pretty damn accurate for a bunch of reasons. They did $43.8 million in revenue last year. So these are big companies, or at least big in my eyes. You know, I've only scaled businesses to mid 7 figures. So these are big companies that literally tens of thousands of other companies use to grow their business, right? They're basically a large database of contacts that you can sort and filter and search by industry, by job title, by years of experience, by what tools they have on their website. So if you want to find, people who use HubSpot, like, they have all the data for what companies have the HubSpot, like little pixel and tracking identification code on their website. And you could find, people who are heads of HR at people who have websites with HubSpot on it. So it's a pretty amazing technology, and sales teams use it for cold email. We use it. We scrape Apollo and then upload lists of our clients' target audiences to Facebook to then create lookalike audiences for. So, there's literally a million different ways that people use it. But when I first saw this, it really just reminded me of my very first thought was, I need to own my own list, because everyone builds businesses on the back of other businesses, and to have your ability to, well, not your ability, but to have the ability to contact your target customers without needing to pay Facebook to get in front of them, without needing to pay Google to get in front of them, without needing to buy more LinkedIn in-mail credits from LinkedIn to get in front of them. It's just wild. Like it's just wild. And I think of this word a lot. Someone, one of my good VC friends and mentors talked to me about this term called the walled garden, right? Like inside of the garden, inside of the walls, it's beautiful and it's luscious and it's gorgeous and it's a great life inside of the garden. But outside of it, if you're outside of it, like you're not able to access all the food and the gorgeousness of the garden. And that's what LinkedIn is, right? Like when it comes to me messaging you, my friend Logan, I have a million options to do that. I have Facebook, I have Snapchat, I have Slack. That's where I was going with the S. I have WhatsApp, I have text, I have email. But in order to communicate in a business way outside of email, right? Maybe outside of Slack, like particularly communicating with a larger group of people in a business setting that are similar to me, the only option is LinkedIn. And so LinkedIn has a walled garden, and they are simply making it even harder for Apollo and Seamless to leverage their data to create a walled garden for Apollo or a walled garden for Seamless. And I was just, and I don't mean to keep preaching this on every episode, build a newsletter, whether you pay us to do it for you or not. I don't care. Like genuinely, like I'll promote it. Maybe in my newsletter, maybe too much, maybe not too much. But like, I don't care if you use us or not. Like the importance of building your own audience so that when things like this happen, you are safe is the most important thing you can possibly do for your business. And it is the number one thing, if in the Eisenhower matrix, in the box of important but not urgent, right? Most people have it in the important but not urgent. Building your own audience, building your own list, right? It's not all that hard. I did it, and I'm not that smart. I graduated with 2.7 GPA in college. I barely got in. It's not that hard to build the audience. It just takes patience, right? Just takes patience.
Yeah. I mean, I was seeing yet another Gary Vee clip where he was talking about you need to get into the mindset of you're going to be doing this and this, and you're not going to see real like momentum building results for 7 to 12 years. And the guy was like, did I hear you right? He's like, I thought you were going to say months. Now, Gary Vee is big on all brand, on playing the long game, super long. And so maybe he's over here on the end of the spectrum, but he's not wrong either, that you have to play the long game. And that's exactly, kind of the first thought in my mind. And maybe from here, we're kind of talking about if we were the CMO of one of the companies, if we were the CMO of a company who was heavily reliant on a sales engagement platform like Seamless or a contact database like Apollo, I'm very much in line with what you're talking about there, Max. Is you need to build your own audience, right? Because a couple of things came to mind here from the news perspective. Like, I think that LinkedIn is realizing, like, hey, people are building a business off of the back of our business, right? And what is their business model? You look at, most of that is through ads. They expanded company page ads in the last couple of years to thought leader ads. And what did we see? We saw organic reach through individual profiles start to decrease. Well, that's probably because, partially at least, it's maturity of the social media platform, but it's also because LinkedIn now has the vehicle to be able to say, hey, Max, you want to reach more people through your personal profile? Here's that thought leader ad, right? You can pay for that now. And also, like, there's no one close. I think we talked about this maybe a month or two back. Like, there's no one like LinkedIn that has such accurate, targeted data on people from a professional standpoint. People tend to be who they say they are, outside of the few AI agents that are out there on LinkedIn, or at least AI profiles, not really agents. It's probably misuse of that, right? And so they're looking at, hey, people are kind of encroaching into what we've built here. We're going to build the wall up a little bit in this walled garden, just a little bit more, right?
I mean, I really, really, really wish someone would come out with a LinkedIn competitor. It just blows my mind that there's 40 million ways to communicate with like-minded people outside of the business world on Twitter and on Instagram and on Facebook and Snapchat, like all of these big platforms, all these big communities, Reddit. I mean, but there's nothing outside of LinkedIn. I mean, I communicate heavily with the business community on Twitter, but it doesn't have my experience, and it doesn't have the ability to reach out to me like LinkedIn does and everything else. So I really wish someone would come up with that and charge a lot less than LinkedIn does. But I think, to your point, and to the point that we've been hammering home a lot, creating your own audience is paramount. And the way that I always explain it to people is you need to leverage the existing walled gardens to pull people out into your own walled garden. So you leverage LinkedIn posts. You leverage Facebook ads. You leverage Google ads to get people's emails, to get people's phone numbers. SMS lists are slowly, very slowly becoming a huge thing, right? You use the existing walled gardens to get people into your own walled garden. And that is the number one most important thing you can do to build a moat around your business, period, end of story. In terms of, like, if I was the CMO of Seamless AI, or if I was the CMO of Apollo, I think they actually need to go in a completely different direction, and they need to become more full stack and compete with HubSpot or Salesforce or Pipedrive. I think they need to build their own internal CRMs, because what a lot of people do is they have a CRM and then they take data from Apollo and they enter it into the CRM. CRMs are very, in some ways, easy to build. It's basically a glorified spreadsheet with a bunch of features, right? Right. Building all of the different bells and whistles, complicated. Building a simple version where you're like, hey, we have the data already here. You can send your cold emails through here, which Apollo has, but they charge a fortune for it. And then having the CRM to help with the existing data that you have that you've pulled out of the walled garden is, I think, where these companies need to go. And then maybe they can suck back up to LinkedIn or whatnot. But if we dig one layer deeper, what I was reading about the why behind the LinkedIn clapping, to use that term, I'm trying to be like the cool kids with the SEO or the crypto kids, even though I don't own any crypto. You know, the real reason why is because each one of those had LinkedIn Chrome extension. So when you were on LinkedIn and you're on, if I'm on Logan's profile on LinkedIn, which, by the way, I always include it in the show notes below. So if you want to say hi to Logan, go click his LinkedIn below. But when you're on Logan's profile, if you have an Apollo account, if you have credits in your Apollo account, instead of paying LinkedIn to reveal his email, or instead of paying LinkedIn to be able to message him via InMail,
And then the InMail. Yep.
right? On the Chrome extension, on I think it's the right hand side of your browser of LinkedIn, it would show a little Apollo pop up, and it would say, "Here's all the details about Logan, and here is his email," and then you could just email it, right? So again, building that wall even higher. You know, if that's the only reason, people are still going to use Apollo, no questions asked. But I'm royally shocked that more people aren't talking about this. And going off on a complete tangent, I want someone to build a new LinkedIn, and I want someone to scrape all of the Apollo data on planet Earth. There's like 40 million contacts, right? I pay a guy $100 to scrape, like, I think it's 50,000 at a time, $100 to scrape 50,000, because it's normally like what, 50 cents a lead on Apollo. So I get 0.00 per lead, but someone should scrape all 40 million contacts and then just sell it to people at $5,000 or $10,000 one time for the year. I know that's highly illegal to do because it's Apollo's data. So figure out the legal way to do it. I'm not saying go do illegal things, right? But you know, there are websites, exportapollo.io, right, where you can use Apollo, use their search and filter, but then they scrape it for you. No secret. No secret. And I will still continue to do that and upload that into Facebook ads because it still remains the best way to target B2B businesses on Meta. This has been a tangent. I'm gonna stop talking now. Logan.
You're good. There's a couple things I'm thinking about here, and it's why I love your newsletter model and why you advocate for the newsletter funnel that we've talked about on the show, that you run for clients, that I have even put parts of that to work for our own agency at Business Builders ourselves after learning things from you. And it is about this, though. It is that you have to go in. What people have been doing with especially like Apollo and Seamless is they go into the walled garden. They're like, sweet, I can get access to this data. Now I'm just going to pitch everybody, right? And so it's like one contact. How many times can you email them? Maybe you do 3, 4, 5, maybe 7. Oh, that's kind of pushing it in cold outreach, right? And what do you do at the end of that? If they don't respond? Absolutely nothing. Like, right? And maybe 6 months later they come back around and you hammer them again, but you're burning bridges quickly within that walled garden. And so on top of that, then when the walls go up further and you don't have access, like, you're pretty much stuck, right? And so this was kind of a fundamental shift when, you know, inbound marketing, content marketing came up, when HubSpot kind of initially, you know, started the groundswell. It was like, you have to offer someone something of value in order to get their contact information. And we were like, sweet, let's pump out a bunch of crap content to get a lead. And now look, hey, sales team, we have an email address, go do your thing, right? And so it's like, it's funny, like when HubSpot initially started talking about inbound marketing, they were like, I remember this visual in like one of their HubSpot Academy courses. It was like, here's the megaphone. Outbound marketing is like a megaphone. You're shouting, you're interrupting. You need a magnet instead to attract people. You put out good content that brings them to you. They learn about your business. They do business with you. Well, if you're in HubSpot today and you click on the marketing tab, it's a megaphone. I'm like, this is really funny to me. And it's not like, no one is probably thinking through it that much. And like, whatever, I'm not picking on HubSpot. I freaking love HubSpot. We're a HubSpot partner at Business Builders. You know, it is a great platform. But I was like, that's indicative of how we've taken inbound marketing and just still done the outbound things, right? And that's why, again, bringing this kind of full circle, now I'm on a tangent, is thinking about how can you go to those walled gardens like Meta, like LinkedIn, and give people an actual reason to give you your contact information, not just, you know, some crap lead magnet that you spun up that isn't actually valuable, but some actual insight, whether that's a checklist, a newsletter, or whatever. And then how do you actually, once they are in your walled garden, don't make them want to climb the wall so quickly, like, holy crap, why did I give these people my email address? That is how you actually, you know, build long-term with your sales and marketing motion. You need to actually go there, get people into your database, but give them a reason to stay there so that, you know, just like you were telling me earlier today when we were talking about your newsletter clients, so that they will consistently receive value and decide to reach out to you when the time's right. Like it's still the same game. We just don't want to do the work, I think. So I'm stepping down off my soapbox for a second. Let you talk for a bit more.
I think the much bigger conversation, Gary Vee is probably better suited to explain this in much better words, but the internet has made us expect things instantly. We can get answers to things instantly. I can get food delivered in literally Shake Shack. That's a 5-minute drive from me. We timed it a couple nights ago. I got Shake Shack delivered in 22 minutes. By the time it would take me to get in my car, put my new baby in her car seat, get her out of the walk. It's like, it's faster to literally, and I pay for $20 a month for Postmates Premium. So it's literally free for the delivery. So like we're used to getting things urgently, and it's trickled its way into marketing. People expect people to sign up right now. And we've talked about it a lot before, but having a strategy in place that surfaces the 2%, somewhere between 2 and 10% of the market that's in the market to buy now, and then nurtures the other 90 to 98%, so that when they are ready to buy, they come to you, is the best thing that you can possibly do for your business. But I want to say again, first and foremost, it doesn't have to be with us, and it doesn't have to be a newsletter. There's like literally 100 different ways. I'm currently writing a growth hack of the week. I don't know if it'll go out this Sunday, might go out the following Sunday, but like 10 different ways to get to 12 touch points. I'm trying to find 2 more really good ones, but I got to really love each one. 12 ways to get to 12 touch points. But you need to get in front of your customer at least 12 times before they're ready to buy. That is a stat that Neil Patel did. Neil Patel is a much more sophisticated, much larger marketing guy in the space than I am. He collects crazy data. And his data said for B2B offers over $1,000, you need at least 12 touch points. And so the question is, what is your strategy to get to 12? Like that's the whole game. You can run Facebook ads saying, hey, if you're struggling with this, get on the phone with us. And sure, some people get on the phone and some people will close, right? You can run a cold email. Hey, are you struggling with this? We can help you. Some people get on the phone and some people will close. But that's not how you build a real business, something with a moat, something that's defensible, something that has brand equity, right? You do that via a podcast. You do that via Facebook retargeting ads. You do that via LinkedIn content. You do that via Instagram content. You do that via an Instagram channel, right? There's 100 million different ways. I'm coming out with the article, 10 ways to get to 12. But like, this is the name of the game. And like Gary Vee said, 7 to 10 years. I mean, I don't think it's that long, but for some people it is. For some people it is.
Yeah, man, it's well said. And I think this kind of as a closing thought on this whole conversation, from news to what do you do if you're over one of these companies, if you're over marketing at one of these companies whose LinkedIn page just got nuked, or if you're a company who's reliant on these sort of platforms, kind of bringing it full circle. There was this quote, I wish I could remember who it was from, but it was kind of like when marketing automation was first starting. And there was this quote that said, data is the new oil, right? Now data is going to power everything, right? Because we know who's using what tools, we know who's active on what platforms, we know how to reach 45-year-old single moms versus 20 men or whatever, right? Go ahead.
We know who's visiting your damn website. If you go to rb2b.com, you could put a little code on your website and it'll literally tell you the actual person who's visiting your website to like 80% accuracy, or with like 80% accuracy. We know everything, to your point. I was just adding. Continue.
Yeah. Like, and for a while, that has been fueling absolutely everything, right? But now in a world where everybody has access to the data, so much so that it's like, we're going to shut some of these things down, right? Because we shouldn't have that. Or if it's like change in GDPR laws or cookies and privacy, things changing in the States, kind of starting in California, Apple locking down privacy. It's like, one, people are tired of it because it's been so misused. Two, people are actually kind of, the walls are kind of coming back in a little bit, right? It's no longer the Wild Wild West. And I heard this quote kind of going off of that first one from maybe 10 years ago from my friends Jared Fuller and Isaac Morehouse. They've kind of moved on from the SaaS world and doing some cool stuff in education. But their line was this: if data was the new oil, now trust is the new data. Meaning you have to now, you can't just compete on having access to data and being able to email Max 50 times, being able to DM, me 50 times on LinkedIn, right? Everybody has data. The playing field is now level on that point, but not everybody has built trust with an audience. So it's yes about building your email list, building your first party data. But then what do you do with that? Are you burning that trust the moment that you have it? And people are, again, climbing out your walled garden faster than they, absolutely can? Or are you giving them a reason to say, oh, okay, I gave these people my email. I actually want to stay engaged. I want to get more from them. And that's really the name of the game right now.
Well, I think to summarize it, we marketers, us marketers, just got lazy. We could run a Facebook ad, we can get someone to show up on a call, and we could close them. And that works, but it doesn't work well enough to build real trust, real, true scalability, right? And so I love the term, if data is the new oil, then trust is the new oil. Right before you said that, I was thinking specifically, Gary Vee always says that attention is the new currency. Attention is the new currency. I would say frequency is the new currency, right? Attention is great. I have someone's attention at the Super Bowl ad, but there were whatever there was, 6 or 7 new companies. There were 6 or 7 new companies that advertised in the Super Bowl this year that were no names. They weren't Coca-Cola. You've never heard of them before. They were totally most people haven't heard of them before, right? VC back. They just paid money to moonshot a bunch of attention. And then what happened next? I don't remember any of them, right? It's not just the moonshot, it's the aftermath, right? It's what do they call it? When an earthquake happens, there was an earthquake here in Los Angeles. The aftershocks. It's not just the earthquake. The aftershocks are what's more important. The moment someone hears about your brand and sees your Facebook ad, so many people, when I was running my Facebook ads, it's I ran Facebook ads for, I ran Facebook ads and they didn't work. Well, how long did you run them for? A month. Well, how much money did you spend? $2,000. Okay, what was your frequency? I don't know. We hop into their Facebook account. Frequency score was 1.3. People need to see or hear your brand multiple times. They need multiple messages thrown at them, multiple angles, multiple reasons to book a call or start a free trial or whatever it is. And so, lazy marketing is just not going to cut it anymore. And with Apollo and Seamless AI being clapped from LinkedIn, it's only going to get harder, which means that for us as marketers, it's only that much more important for us to build our own walled gardens. Every company should think about themselves as a media company. Again, it doesn't have to be a newsletter. It can be a podcast. It could be a blog. People still read tons of blogs. Whether they're finding you through SEO or not, it could be an app where you're sending push notifications. It could be a YouTube channel. It could be, that's not a podcast. It could be just YouTube videos that attract your target audience. Whatever it is, multiple frequencies, multiple touch points, lots of money on retargeting ads. That's the secret sauce in the game if you want to beat the competition, because the competition is lazy and you, because you listen to the show, are not.
I love it. Well, I think with that mic drop moment, hopefully if you hit the like button or you hit follow or subscribe, you took our 5-second bet at the beginning, you got at least one nugget from me or Max. As Max mentioned, we'd love to hear from you. You should definitely be getting the Growth Hack Weekly newsletter. Go to growthdaily.com, sign up for the newsletter, be getting more touch points from Max other than just this podcast, obviously. And you will see, do you actually trust Max with your marketing? And I can tell you, as a regular subscriber, before I became co-host of the show, it's pretty darn good. It's worth it. And as Max said, hit me up on LinkedIn if you want to connect with me directly, if maybe I added something to this conversation as well. As always, thank you so much for listening, for watching. We'll see you next week. Max, this is another good one. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the Marketing Max show. It takes me and my team hours to produce it every single week, but it only takes you 15 seconds to hit that share button and text it to a friend, drop it in a Slack group, or share it on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or any of your favorite social platforms. I appreciate you taking the time to check out my content. Have an awesome day.